Skeleton Crew Episode 4 has arrived, and it's finally given us the big piece of the puzzle, or at least one of them that we've all been missing up to this point. And I think we have some new theories that tie back to the history of the Star Wars galaxy. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your place for everything Star Wars gaming, the TV shows, and the movies. Let's jump in.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
I am very much enjoying episode 4 of the Skeleton Crew. We've got a lot of details here. I think it's quite interesting, this whole idea, and it really makes me think a lot about Lost, the show.
Really?
I feel like how these planets are being built up is a lot like how the different facilities on the Lost Island operate.
Okay, it's like they're just coming in and like discovering new areas sort of thing and like that sort of thing, or what?
How they interconnect. In Lost, each facility on the island has a specific use case, and it seems like this is the idea that is going to be fleshed out as we go through the show. But before we get into that, how are you feeling about Skeleton Crew so far?
I'm still really enjoying it. This one did feel a little bit more kid forward. Mm-hmm. It had kind of a younger vibe to it, just because
we have a very kid-led episode.
Yes. Yeah, it was very much kids take charge, and we discover maybe we don't want to. That's kind of the...
Wait a second, maybe we're kids.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be doing
Hang on.
this. I'm not a captain.
Yep. So it was really good for that to be seen. I feel like we've gotten a lot of character development in this episode. But yeah, it was a little bit of a younger twist, where it was like, I'm not sure that would really be a thing. It felt a little bit more into the fantastical realm of like, okay, we'll extend our imagination to this.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying here. I think overall what we're looking at when we see Skeleton Crew, we're at the halfway point. And I think this is the most, besides Andor, this is the most of a Star Wars TV show that feels like it's actually pacing itself well. Mm-hmm. Like we had the mystery and the setup in the first two episodes on what is happening. The kids start this area. They basically leave Tatooine, if we're going to put it in Star Wars terms, and then they get thrown into a galaxy that they're not really well versed in and have to make their way throughout. So that's kind of where we were at the first two episodes. The third episode starts laying the foundation and gives them a path forward. Mm-hmm. This episode, they are continuing that path forward.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the Dave Filoni specific written shows, or the ones where he's heavily been involved in it from a creative perspective, have never felt like they've got a beginning, middle, and an end.
Yeah.
It just seems like, well, this is a beginning.
Yeah.
And not to say that it's necessarily a bad thing to have this, but this is the show that feels most complete up to the halfway point already. It feels like they're pacing themselves well. They have the mysteries that are going on here. And I think this show in particular is utilizing its budget quite well. Mm-hmm. And it's also expanding Star Wars lore in such a fascinating way. I think this calls back to a lot of what Mandalorian did very well, which is taking this idea of Star Wars, bringing into the future, but not going so far that it takes away a lot of what we love about Star Wars. It didn't go the prequel route.
Yeah.
It went and expanded on what we've already known about the galaxy. And also, it's bringing back things from the Old Republic era, it seems. We're seeing these planets in various states so far. Lots of references to the jewels of the Old Republic. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at something that I think is really unique because it's really capturing the whole experience of Star Wars so far. We're set in the Mandoverse time period, which is slowly laying the foundation for what the sequels will be. Mm-hmm. But it's bringing in a lot of the pieces from the original trilogy in terms of its structure, its vibe, the character focus, and the character's journey. They're really tying in pieces of the hero's journey, which I find fascinating. And then it's also going back and tying some of that history that we love from Legends and bringing that forward even more.
If I were to compare it to something, You said Lost. I'd say more like Uncharted or something like that. It really feels like we're being given a puzzle. And just with every episode, we're
like
getting
Indiana
a little bit more.
Jones,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's got this like, oh, look, we've almost got the answer. Or we've got the answer. And no, wait, it's taken back. But we've got all this other information that we can probably glean from, that we can learn or use to gain more information about this thing that we cannot get. You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I like that a lot.
It's very unique, and it's this type of storytelling that I find really fascinating. It's something that really speaks to what I really enjoy. And like, I love Indiana Jones. I love this discovery of like hidden secrets and hidden civilizations. I love like national treasures. So this is, it might not resonate as much to other people as it does to me, but for me, I really love those types of stories. And we've got a reverse story here where we have like this mythical treasure land, but that they've come from, and now they're trying to get back to. But they're also trying to get back to this planet while unraveling the secrets on why it has been hidden. So you have like all of these pieces that are coming together, and you're slowly like, it's almost Fallout-esque as well, because each of the vaults operate for a different experiment.
It's true.
And depending on which vault you are, it's a very different experience, and it seems like that is true at this point, because we've got what, at Arrakis, or no
Wow, my dude,
Atrakis or something like that. Like, we've got all of these at planets that seem to be in cahoots with each other and are working together,
or at least were
at some point. And this is probably, if you have not seen the episode, probably should jump out if you're worried about spoilers, because we're going to get into spoilers. But overall, really enjoying the episode. I think it's quite fascinating. Now, spoilers. We have the kids. They come to this planet where both adults and kids are equal. There are two tribes that are fighting each other to various levels of violence, as well as for different things, like they're attacking each other based off of resources. It seems kind of like Romeo and Juliet-esque in terms of like these factions have been fighting for so long. They don't necessarily know the reason, just that they are enemies.
And I appreciate that they don't go into it.
Yeah.
Like, we get one side, and we don't even get that side. We just see, this is how we operate, and that's it. We don't get into the drama of the two things. It's just, this is how it is.
This is a stop along our story, and that is as far as we're going, which I think is a good direction. It's not going to sidetrack us. It's not going to take away the focus.
Didn't get emotional about it.
Yeah, which was great. We had some good character moments there. The characters really got to shine here as we see each of them trying to fulfill the role that they've placed on themselves, and the pressures that they've put on themselves. And I feel like it's Wim and Fern trying to be this idea of what a captain should be or what a hero should be, and realizing that isn't necessarily what they want out of their life so far. And then we have Neil, who is not playing any games. Like, he is just Neil. Like, he knows exactly what he's been doing. He knows what his path is supposed to be, and he's just trying to get back home. And then you have KB, that's just kind of there's the support role. We didn't get much character growth for her in this episode. And Jod, I think it really showed how committed Jod is to this journey, that he would, one, listen to the kids in terms of like their fantasies of being captain, when he clearly knows that he's going to come in and save the day, and he has his ulterior motives and all of that stuff. But also kind of lays the foundation of like, he's not necessarily a fully bad dude. He's just a guy who's trying to make his way through the galaxy. Like, he just very Han Solo-esque in terms of like how he's trying to go through this. Clearly, he finds value in the kids and this path that they're on. He knows there's something up with SM-33. He knows there's something deeper here, and he's trying to find out what's happening, and also hopefully find some treasure along the way.
I definitely think we're going to see more of him just as it goes to the finale, because he's definitely taken a step back just to let the kids shine right now, because they're just experiencing what they are, which is good. It's good to see the kids really taking over the show at this point. But I definitely think we're going to see more of that clash.
Yeah, I think they're going to rely on him more, and I think that's where some of the friction will lay.
Sure.
They still don't fully trust him, but they're learning to trust him in certain ways. So I think that's going to be an interesting part of this story.
And I think that's what this episode was really laying down that foundation for, was them realizing we're just kids.
Yeah.
We're not here to
wait.
We're not here to captain. We're not here to hurt people. We're here to get home. And I think they're going to start seeing that Jod is this adult figure who did save them, and that they can start relying on a bit more.
Yeah. Not saved just once,
right,
but multiple times, and has been committed to this idea of like how this is going to work. So I think it's quite interesting to see what this is going to do as we go forward. But I find it so fascinating that we're getting into this idea of these planets that connect with each other, that there is some level of plan that was happening at some point in the past, very, very far in the past, more than likely.
Yeah.
More than likely, it is going to be set around the Old Republic era because of what the kids know and the lack of experiences they have for things that really happened in the galaxy. It seemed that whatever experiment or whatever plan or whatever analysis that these planets were doing in the past, that it was decided by some people, maybe all together, that At-Aden was the planet that was going to be hidden and to be placed on this pedestal, or to continue its path. Maybe the other planets were unsuccessful or just not able to really fulfill their plans, or were attacked, and it was kind of like one of those things, well, we need to make sure that the success of whatever experiment's going to be running is continuing, and maybe that's the reason that these other planets, at least this one planet that we've had experience with so far, was sacrificed. All of the buildings are burnt in various levels of decay. There are 2 warring tribes or factions, and now we just get like a little bit extra layer of kind of background in terms of what's going on. We still don't know what is actually going on, which I find super fun.
Yep.
And it's just like the main reason for the story is the kids left the planet and they're trying to get back. But by doing so, they're unraveling a much bigger plot that I think is quite fascinating. So we've got like Lost, Fallout, even a little bit of like The Giver in terms of like this very like idyllic planet where you kind of like fulfill your role and just go in day out, day in, like wash, rinse, repeat kind of thing. I love this combination of experiences that's combined to make something really unique in Star Wars.
Okay, but here's the question. Who was SM-33's captain?
Do you think it's somebody that we know?
I think it's someone. I think it's the supervisor.
You think so?
I think so, because who would be in charge of keeping their planet safe? But and it's also, it was crashed in at
crashed
Aden.
in
at
buried a long time ago.
A long time ago.
I love this theory. I think you're onto something.
I think so. I think they knew, whoever they are, that in order for it to work, in order for their planet to be like brainwashed,
that specific planet.
Yep. No one could come in and no one could get out. And so they had to destroy all the evidence.
Intriguing.
To keep that one planet in a bubble. Because they wanted theirs to succeed or something.
Or maybe, I don't know, but it seems, I'm trying to think of like timelines of what that would look like. I wonder which happens first. Does the myth of At-Aden happen first? Or is it the fact, is it the repercussions of the actions of that captain that make At-Aden this mythical land of treasure?
Or was it because of the other planets that are also kind of hidden but not as hidden?
Yes.
Is that what makes this one more mythical?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot to that theory that I find very fascinating.
Ooh.
Let's put a pin in that. I love this idea. I think it has a lot of merits, and I think it would add an interesting layer. I think no matter what happened whether or not the supervisor is the captain, the supervisor definitely knew about that crash landing and has probably put in place like plans around this happening. This is what I love about this specific show in Star Wars. I think it adds so much, and it's like the perfect theoretical, like, what's happening type of show, which I really enjoy. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, or contact uplinkpodcast.com if you're listening to this wherever you find podcasts. As always, thank you for listening. May the Force be with you.